Wes Welker with Bleacher Report, and we're about to do the best fake Tom Brady impression you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, baby.
This thing's hot, bro. I tell you, this thing's hot, man.
It's getting hot.
What's up, guys? How we doing? I gotta tell you though, dude, this thing gets hot.
We miss you.
Thank you.
Give me a kiss.
Thank you.
Here he is to save the day, but wrapping it up in his special way. Throw in a preview show, add some alcohol and here we go. Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman.
Hola, señors! It is I, Senor Batman, and I'm here for your week 2. Uno, dos, wrap up in your week 3 preview show. Last week, it was basically a huge week for the reason that so many players got hurt. I mean, fantasy football world got shook up big time last week. So, I mean, there's nothing really else to talk about right now. Let's just get straight to the wrap-up and let's figure out what happened last week and what I think is going to happen later in the preview show now that these injuries are here. So let's get to the wrap-up. Wrap-up! Okay, so week 2 wrap-up. 2016, you got Slice City Slayers versus Chronic Roster Baiter. Chronic Roster Baiter getting his 2nd straight victory. Defending champion 118.5 to 95.9. Chronic Roster Baiter, he hasn't lost since, week, I think it was 13 last year. Wait, 14, 15, yeah, whatever the last week of the regular season. He lost the week before playoffs, but he's won ever since then. And now there's things beeping at me. Alright, fuck that shit. Anyhow, next up, hashtag Wide Receivers Matter gets a victory, 135.7 over I'm Sofa King We Todd It, 120.3. I don't know. Wait, maybe I said too slow. I'm Sofa King We Todd It. What? I don't get it. There's no player name unless you talk about like Sean King or Todd Gurley. I'm Sofa King We Todd It. I don't know. Regardless, hashtag Wide Receivers Matter 135.7 gets a huge victory. Cam Newton, his keeper, gets him 29.8 points. Moving on. Richmond Rush versus Ray Charles Moneyball. Ray Charles Moneyball takes the L. Richmond Rush gets a victory, 105.5 to 93.6. Gets the victory, his first victory of the year after, losing in the championship. He had 2 games in a row that he had lost. Well, in week 2, he gets back on the winning ways on the back of Broncos D getting him 22 points. Like, holy shit. Next up, welcome to Bohax Pitt versus Peterson. Adrian Peterson, 84.4 to 76.1 in favor of Bohax Pitt. A low-scoring affair. Peterson gets hurt. We'll talk about that later. But Sterling Shepard gets 15.7 points and gives Bohack the victory. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just scored a lot of points. Total power, 146.5 to 899.4. Bortles gets a gets a huge victory, 146.5. I mean, top score for the week, 99.4 for El Sacco. Returns to his Sacco-like ways. Doesn't do shit. Regardless, Cardinals D gets 22 points for Ninja Bortles, and he gets the victory. Finally, in probably our closest matchup of the week, Martial Law edges Rake Session out of a victory, 128.7 to 126.5. Kelvin Benjamin doing in work, 26.3 points to help him get there. I mean, it came down to it. It was close, but Martial Law gets the victory. So your week 2 winners, Chronic Roster Baiter, hashtag White Receivers Matter, Richmond Rush, welcome to Bohack's Pit, Teenage Mutant Ninja Portals, and Martial Law. Go to the standings real quick. First place in Division Uno is a tie right now. Chronic Roster Baiter, welcome to Bohack's Pit at 2-0. There's 2 teams at 1-1, hashtag White Receivers Matter, and Peterson, Adrian Peterson. And then last in the division, 0-2, is I'm Sofa King We Totted. He's 0-2 as well as Slay City Slayers. Division Dose, it is a dead heat from top to bottom. Everyone is 1-1. So I'm not going to go through every team because if you're in Division Dose, you should know. So if you're in Division Dose, you are there. And you are just as good. It's basically like week 3 is the beginning of the season for you. It doesn't even matter. You're all 1-1. Other than when you look at the points. Top scorers in Division Uno, Chronic Roster Raiders hanging on to that, 263.2. White Receivers Matter, 256.8. Those 2 players face each other this week. Then you have I'm Sofa King We Totted, 143.7. And Slay City Slayers is in 4th, despite being 0-2, 209.5. Welcome to Bullhack's Pit, 209.3, so he's right below Slay City Slayers. And then last, despite being 1-1, is Peterson, Adrian Peterson with 207.2. Moving on to Division Dos, Martial Law tops the scores. Oh, no he doesn't. Hold up. That's wrong. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Portals by 0.9 points, 263.9. Right below him, though, is Rake Session at 263. Then there's a little bit of a gap down to Richmond Rush. He has 235.2. El Saco, 230. Ray Charles Moneyball, 229. And then Martial Law, 221. Now, something you want to notice here, Teenage Mutant Ninja Portals, highest scorer in the league right now, barely. There's 3 teams here, Portals, Chronic Roster Baiter, and Rake Session, all at within like under a point. So, for top scorer of the league. So, pretty close competition. Now, the one difference I will say in these 2 divisions is after second place, it's a pretty big drop-off down, or actually it's to 3rd place. Everyone's at 209, 207. The lowest scorer in Division Dos is 221. So you could argue Division Uno is kind of the weaker division overall. Now we will see, this week is week 3 coming up. You got week 4, and then you have week 5. If you know how to count, you know that. But if you don't, that's how it goes. Week 3, then there's 4, then 5. But then in week 6 starts the cross-division classic, where there's 3 weeks of cross-division play. That'll be very interesting to see who is actually the weaker division. So that's basically it for your week 2 wrap-up. So all I got left to talk to you about is the week 3 preview show. Do it. Preview show. Okay, so going right into it. Chronic Roster Baiter versus hashtag White Receivers Matter. Like I said, top 2 scoring teams in Division Uno. Well, right now they're projecting Chronic Roster Baiter to win. Yesterday was Thursday Night Football. Having computer issues. Couldn't get the shit going. Too fucking bad. Patriots D, though, got him 14 points. Edelman got him 7.2. Probably looking for a little more from Edelman, but not terrible. Patriots D probably made up for it. That being said, it's going to be close. I would probably, if I was looking at this just at the matchups, I'd say I think Chronic Roster Baiter is going to win this week. But I'm not picking Chronic Roster Baiter because he cannot beat Rick Pucci, a.k.a. hashtag White Receivers Matter. I don't think he's ever beaten him, ever. So I'm going to say that continues. Rick gets the victory, whether you want to call that an upset or not. He takes the victory, and Chronic Roster Baiter takes his first loss since the regular season of last year. Moving on, Richmond Rush versus El Saco. Very interesting one here. 7.6 points for Hopkins, not good. And then you got 22.5 over on the other side for LeGarrette Blount, 4.6 for Will Fuller. So, doing okay. Now, even before yesterday, I think I would still go with the same team that I'm going to go with right now. That's assuming Jones and Marshall are both healthy and play. But I'm going to give it to El Saco. I just think last week was kind of a fluke. Monday Night Football against Atlanta, Drew Brees, I think, could be pretty big, although I was wrong last week, so who knows. But this is the last week for El Sacco before he gets right there, Le'Veon Bell. And then after that, he gets Tom Brady. Now, I don't know if Tom Brady is going to be better than Drew Brees, but who knows. Regardless, I think that after this week, he will start becoming a main contender in Division Dos because Le'Veon Bell is a fucking stud. I mean, he's got really nothing going on here, anywhere really, in this whole entire team, top to bottom. So, regardless, we're going to say that he gets the victory. He goes 2-1 without Bell and gets him back next week. Moving on. Slay City Slayers versus Peterson. Adrian Peterson, and this is where it's going to get interesting. They're projecting 116.2 in favor of Slayers, which is basically 3 points above what they're projecting for Peterson. And I actually think it's going to be a little bit worse for Peterson. He lost Adrian Peterson. He's got his backup. He handcuffed him. That was smart of him. But I'm looking at some of these other players, and it's like, oh, they're hurt too. He's got Senor that's hurt, who I bid 22. I mean, he's got some injuries as well. It's kind of a battle of who can of survive. So, but I'm going to give it to Slay City Slayers to get his first victory of the year. I just think he's due. I think that his team will perform a little bit better this week. It's just a hunch. He's got Benjamin going against Indy. That should be a huge matchup. And also Jordan Reed versus the Giants. I think that could be a big matchup. And I think Allen Robinson will also get back on thing. I do think Brown will have a big game, but I do not think Hyde will have a big game. So I just kind of edge it in a little bit into Slay City Slayers' advantage there. Next up, Martial Law versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, let's just hold up. First off, he got no points from Gronk, but even before this, he's starting Dak Prescott against the Bears. Fantasy-wise, Prescott's been okay. He's not been crazy good or crazy bad, but he's not been crazy anything, really. Now, either has Kirk Cousins. Now, the thing is I don't think Prescott's going to have to throw so much against the Bears. I mean, the Bears suck. Whereas Cousins might have to throw a bunch against the Giants. That's just me. I don't really know, but regardless, this should be a knockdown, drag-out thing. But the one thing I want to point out to everyone looking at home is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now is the highest scorer in the whole entire league. But he's got one huge problem. This guy right here has been a source of his points. D'Angelo Williams, 32 in week 1, 21 in week 2. That goes away come week after this week. This is the last week, so he needs to milk this out and get a second win. And I think he will. I'd pick him to win, but it's going to be tough. You got guys like Benjamin. I mean, it is against Minneapolis, so that should be, the Vikings are a tough team. You got also, I said Minneapolis. I meant Minnesota, but whatever. He already had Gronk go and get him nothing. Starting Terrell. I mean, he's got some roster issues up and down his team. Freeman isn't very good. Bernard is very hit or miss. He's starting Prescott. Beckham against Washington. We'll see what happens there. That should be an interesting matchup. But I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gets the victory. Next up, I'm so fucking retarded versus Welcome to Bohack's Pit. Now, Texans D got 2 points for Mr. Luke Bartos. Bohack got 12.7 from Lamar Miller. Both nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. They're projecting Bohack's Pit to get the victory by quite actually a bit of points, almost 10 points. He is not Well, see, here's the problem with him. He lost Doug Martin. Corey Coleman's out. Keenan Allen's on IR. He's not starting Winston against LA. He's instead going Tannenhill, which is kind of interesting. But I think Bohack's Pick gets the victory. He's 2-0 already. I think he gets a victory, and based on what I predicted earlier, I think Bohack's Pit will be the last remaining undefeated team. So that should be very, very interesting as we go forward. He's just got a lot of good players here, and Miller did okay, so I think he'll continue what he's done since yesterday and get the victory. Last up, Ray Session versus Ray Charles Moneyball. They are projecting Ray Charles Moneyball to get about a 9-point victory. Neither of them had anyone go. And I gotta say, though, I do not agree with this prediction at all. My prediction is that Ray Session, I guess, is the upset of the week he has got C.J. Anderson against Cincy. He's got DeMarco Murray versus Oakland. He's got Matt Ryan versus the Saints. I just think there's a lot of good pieces to this puzzle that he has. And I look over here, and he's got Andrew Luck, which is against San Diego, which could be okay. He's also got Ezekiel Elliott. I don't even know if if he fumbles again, they might take him out. Shane Vereen, I don't know if I trust him. Golden Tate and Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald's the beast. But Tate against Green Bay, that could be good. Travis Kelce against the Jets, he's hit or miss. Kevin White, though, I don't know why he keeps starting him. I understand he's your keeper, but I feel like you picked up Alziada. Maybe you're going to put him in. I feel like, I don't know. Kind of looking at his team, it's kind of hard to pick something, but Kevin White, it's kind of hit or miss. He's going to have to get a touchdown, I think, for him to really be useful. If you look at his first 2 weeks, for one, he's 77th best receiver in the league right now in fantasy football. If you didn't know that, when you click a player's name, it's that PRK rating. But he's gotten under 7 points both week, and actually under 5 the first week. So there's a lot of, in this team right here, there's a lot of could happen, but there's not a lot of going to happen. Whereas over here, I think this is what's going to happen. There's going to be big scores from these guys, maybe even Demaryius Thomas against Cincinnati. So will be very interesting to see. And that's basically, that's all of it. So, yeah, that's all there is for the preview show. I didn't realize, oh, there I am, full screen. So, there it is. Your Week 2 wrap-up, your Week 3 preview show. That's really all there is to it. I mean, good luck to all of you. I mean, so Luke's changed his name twice. So, oh, wait a minute. You're not allowed to change your name there, Stinky Pants, only once. So he's already used his one name change. Changes it again. I think there's some type of penalty. I just realized this. Anyhow, moving on. So that's the way it is. Honestly, Division Dos, very interesting battle already. Just like last year, from top to bottom, it's completely wide open. I mean, really, everyone's won and lost in that division. There's no undefeated teams. There's no defeated teams so far. So really, it's like fresh season for Division Dos. Division Uno's a little different. If you're Slay City Slayers or I'm so fucking retarded, then you're freaking on the bottom of 0-2 and going, I need to get a victory now. Now keep in mind, champion came from Division Uno last year, started 0-4, didn't get his first victory 0-5 until he got to week 5, and then he freaking went on a tear. So there's nothing to say. Now, a team I think that could pull that kind of thing is Nick Bartos, the El Saco. I think he could pull off that victory. Just because of Le'Veon Bell, Tom Brady might be a little more consistent. And, I mean, look at what the quarterbacks have been doing there in New England already. So, simply put, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, teabag the guy, but El Saco, keep an eye on his team, because when Le'Veon Bell comes back, he might get those points that D'Angelo Williams was getting, and, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might drop down. So, he needs a running back. So, all those people are looking for, like, hey, I really kind of want a receiver. Go knock on his door. Go, hey, fuckface, I want the fucking receiver. I give you a running back, and there you go. So that's all my time for this week. I will see you next week. Have a good day, good week, luck this week. Hopefully no more injuries, because rough week last week. So I hope it all goes safe for you, and have a good week. Adios.